All right, back on the Chad Hasty Show, News Talk 790 KFYO. Thank you very much for tuning in. Joining me in studio between all the meetings that she has today, Councilwoman Karen Gibson. Thanks for coming in today.
Good morning. Thank you.
Well, the big topic of the day, the big topic of the week, and what could be the very big topic of the City Council meeting is this proposed smoking ordinance. I know you've read over the ordinance, and you've heard a little bit, you've seen a little bit of what some of this breaks down to. You've seen some of the reaction that has been out there already. What is your reaction to this ordinance?
Well, I actually believe there's more involved than we had first thought, a lot more involved. We had first thought, obviously, they had been saying it was just going to be bars and bingo halls. Come to find out, as I read through this, it's every business. I don't think, as I said to you before, I don't think businesses understand that they are included in this also. So insurance companies, law firms, my business, every business is included in this ordinance.
And that's something that, when I spoke to, and I won't say exactly who I spoke to over at the chamber, but this was a few months ago when this was really starting to get heated over at City Hall. They had said, we haven't heard from many or any of our businesses, and they told me a lot of their members probably see this as a bar and restaurant deal. But this includes everybody out there.
It's not. It's every business in Lubbock. As I read through it and I got clarification from our legal team, one thing I read in this is that a business that has service trucks, such as, and I'll just use my business as an example, my business that I buy the trucks for, I pay the insurance for, my employees cannot smoke in my trucks.
Right.
And, I just think it's very onerous on these businesses. And it just goes so into what the city council telling a business how to run their business. Yeah. And I've said that from day one. It's not our job to tell a business how to run a business.
I wonder how, and I haven't even, this just now popped into my head, but what about those people who run home-based businesses? They run a business out of their home. Do you know how that affects them?
Well, and it actually says in here, and as far as a home-based business, I don't know. It does allude to if you have a daycare or home health care, that while those services are being rendered, you cannot smoke.
Yeah, and not only that, but it includes all tobacco products. So if someone's dipping, if they're doing snuff, if they have e-cigarettes and vapor, which is something I know the mayor has talked about beforehand, of saying, I don't see really a need to ban e-cigarettes and vapor.
Well, those are included in this ordinance.
Those are included, though.
Yes.
And so even if you have a babysitting gig at your house or whatever, it can be smokeless. But if it's still a tobacco product, and not just you, but anyone in that house, to me, it looks like your home would have to be smoke-free.
Your
and
home
tobacco-free.
Yes, I did clarify that that is while the services are being rendered, and I did just clarify that with the legal team. So as long as the children are in the home, or if you're caring for elderly, as long as they are in the home, that is when that does take place.
Yeah, and you just have to wonder how is this enforced exactly, especially for those inside the home.
I don't know. I had the question posed to me yesterday, who's going to pay? The taxpayers will pay to have it enforced. And, that's going to be very unwieldy on the taxpayers. As I read through this, I was just floored at everything that they've brought into it. I think you're going to see a lot of these tobacco shops, Smokers Haven, the hookah shops, because the hookah shops, that's what they do. Yeah. And they are not standalone, I don't think. I believe they're in strip centers.
I believe so.
And so they won't have a business. And so not only are we putting them out of business, we're putting workers out of business. And so there goes a tax base. Mm-hmm. And, I just think it's a bad deal all the way around.
How do you get people to, because obviously you're against this, I know Councilman Griffiths is against this, the mayor, is against this. You have at least 2 publicly declared council members who are for the ordinance, and Councilwoman Latrell Joy and Councilman Floyd Price. Possibly 2 swing votes, maybe 1 leaning the other way with Councilman Gurlt. How can the public, those of us who are out there, I'm telling people to show up to the council meeting, is that going to be what members of the council need? Do they need to hear from people who are against this?
They do need to hear from us. And you know, Chad, I'm going to go back to the city bus situation probably 3 years ago. And if you'll remember that, we had people show up in groves as to what to do with city bus when we were going to cut the routes and cut things down. And that was standing room only that night. There were 2 of us that went behind the scenes and worked that out because there were so many people that showed up. We listen. When you show up and you talk to us, we do listen. When we don't hear from you, we don't know what to do. Yeah. And so absolutely, we're going to go with our gut if we don't hear from you. And so, yes, I believe we do. And, you know, you start getting these form letters saying vote for it, but they're all the same. And so, you know, they're coming from that coalition of people from the American Heart Association. And, I'm not saying that don't smoke is not a good thing to do, because obviously it is, and for your health. What I'm saying is let these businesses decide. The market is what's going to decide it. There are businesses all over town that are non-smoking, and good for them. Yeah. But they got to choose it. Yeah. It's not the Lubbock City Council telling them you have to do this. You have to run your business this way.
Well, and there are many parts in this ordinance that, to me, are pretty disturbing. And one of them is under the outside places, and it includes vehicles. If you're going through a drive-thru, if you're going through a bank teller line, not only smoking, but again, smokeless tobacco, a tobacco product, or e-cigarettes and vapor, this is a very scary foot in the door to what people can or can't
very
do
Big Brother.
Inside their car.
It's very Big Brother, and they're telling you what you can do in your private vehicle. Yeah,
and again, this is something that when they came on this show, when they went on other shows, when they were being very public, they said, we don't want to touch this. We just want to go after bars and restaurants. It seems like they completely flipped and went on a different direction.
Well, they're not just touching it; they're embracing it.
They are. I wonder. Do you think that because this is to an extreme, to me it seems to an extreme, do you think that gives some of the other council members pause? Well, maybe those who are on the fence or publicly.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see what happens. It's to me, this is a terrible ordinance. And I'm with you, and I know you've been against this since day one. When it was just kind of floated out there, you've been against this since day one. And I think it says a lot that the business owners on the council are the ones who have been very publicly against this and have spoken out against this, because you've seen firsthand how government getting involved in a business can really be a detriment to your business.
Well, Chad, and I've said all along, we have enough regulations from the federal and state that we have to go by, and I don't care what your business is. You've got enough regulations passed down that you have to go by, and even city. I mean, we have things in place already to govern us, and we don't need this type of telling me that I can't allow what to happen in my vehicles. I have a big problem with that. Yeah. Now, my business, we don't want our service techs going into a home smelling like smoke, but that's our personal choice.
Right.
But if another company wants to allow that, that's their choice.
Yeah, it's your vehicles. You own the vehicles.
Absolutely.
You pay the taxes on the vehicles. You pay everything else.
Absolutely.
770-5790, toll free, 1-800-687-0790. Again, council meeting at 5:15. The agenda looks pretty long, but I know a lot of it is, right away and some stuff that can go pretty fast. People can still show up to the council meeting, correct, and still speak on this issue because it is on the agenda. About how long do you think this council meeting will last up until the point that you get, to vote on this issue?
If there's a lot of people there on this issue, the mayor could very easily pull it up at the beginning.
Okay.
He has the gavel, and so depending on how many people are there to speak for and against, he could very easily go ahead and pull it up. And sometimes he'll do that if there's a lot of people there.
Okay. Councilwoman Karen Gibson, appreciate your time today. Appreciate you coming by.
Thank you.